Cruise news time. Well, in the ongoing and epic battle of which cruise port, embarkation port, is the busiest, Port of Miami, they've been dethroned. You'll never guess by who. We have an update on the Legionnaires story regarding American Cruise Line. And well, the Royal Loyal are bummed out as they see a popular program going away. It's a sad day. Cruise news and my views. Let's talk about it. Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to La Lido Loca. I'm your host, Tony, here with the latest cruise news and views for your face. It's trash day. That's right, it's Friday the 24th. The 24th of February. Hope everybody is doing good. Are you ready to slide into the weekend? Do you have big weekend plans? Well, my big weekend plans is to continue to work on this office here. I finally got some new sound treatment in that I have to put on the wall. You may wonder why all the weird shots. Well, let me show you what I'm dealing with. I'm talking directly into a blanket to get this show to sound decent, and so it's making it a little challenging to try to get all the shots in place, but I'm loving this space. I'm loving it, and still a lot of work to do on it, but yeah, that's you may be wondering what's going on behind the scenes. I gave you one better. I showed you what's going on behind the sheets, or the blanket, as it were. Cruise news story number one. It's often talked about who's got the busiest cruise port, which cruise port is the most significant to the cruise business, and for year after year, it's been the Port of Miami. Well, new data has revealed that in 2022, Miami was no longer the top dog when it came to the busiest cruise port. This probably shouldn't be a hard guess, but they have been superseded by Port Canaveral. Dun, 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 dun. Port Canaveral. Let's look at the numbers. In 2022, Port Miami serviced 4,022,544 cruise passengers. Port Canaveral serviced 4,072,396 passengers. Just about 50,000 more passengers. That was the difference. Certainly, Miami, Port Canaveral, the premier ports in Florida. However, they're certainly not the only ports in Florida. Let me give you the numbers on some of the other cruise ports. Port Everglades serviced 1.6 million passengers. That's there in Fort Lauderdale. The Port of Tampa Bay, 418,200 passengers. The Port of Key West, 198,411 passengers. The Port of Palm Beach, 188,235 passengers. And the Port of Jacksonville, 90,241 passengers. But that's kind of interesting because Key West isn't really a embarkation port. It's more of a port of call, and it crushed Jacksonville. I've let it slip before that Port Canaveral is the apple of my eye. It's one of my favorite places to cruise out of. Miami is a great, beautiful sail away, but the traffic and the pre-cruise part of Port of Miami, not my favorite. It's going to be interesting to see as these Florida cruise ports duke it out. In 2023, will Port Miami regain its title, or will all the enhancements and more new cruise ships going to Port Canaveral win the day? We will just have to wait and see. What's your favorite Florida cruise port? Leave a comment below. Cruise news story number two returns us to a conversation we were having the other day about American Cruise Line and about the FDA sending out warning letters to them regarding Legionnaires disease that was linked to their vessels in 2021. I said at the time I had not seen any comment from American Cruise Line. Well, there's been an updated article out there posted by USA Today. They reached out to American Cruise Line and they did get some further clarification. The original article suggested that American Cruise Lines did not respond quickly or right away to the inquiry from the FDA. USA Today did reach out to American Cruise Line. The spokesman for American Cruise Line said they immediately responded with the documentation requested, and they said more importantly, American took the matter very seriously in 2021 and implemented new water management policies and equipment on its ships. It's a direct quote. Continuing the quote, "We have had no further cases since 2021, nor any others in our company's history. Cruise Line also added that all potentially impacted guests had been notified. So that's a good update. That puts a nice bow on that story. Good to see the quick response from American Cruise Line, and we go forward from here. So that's good stuff. Now we got to talk about the situation that's going on with Royal Caribbean International. The Royal Loyal are a bit bummed out as a change that they've made is finally complete. And I do want to talk a little bit about trust issues and loyalty, specifically maybe some of my own loyalty and trust issues. But before I do that, let me quickly invite you to subscribe. If you like staying up to date with everything that's going on in cruising, please consider subscribing with the notification bell on. That way you don't miss out on any of these episodes. We are marching our way to our long-term goal of 18 million subscribers. And look, if you're not a part of the 18 million, then what are you doing with your life? Please, just take a moment, hover your little mouse over the subscribe button and go ding, 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 and then hit the notification bell, ding, ding. I don't think it actually makes any noise on your computer. That's something you could test out. When you click the subscribe and the notification on your computer, does it make any noise? Leave a comment below. Please subscribe, notification bell. Don't miss the episodes. Thank you in advance. All right, let me tell you the story about loyalty. Look, for whatever reason, I'm a bit of a loner. I have trouble trusting people. And as I've, done some self-reflection and thought about that, I think it goes back to when I was about 8 years old. And when I was 8 years old, I had a running buddy, Andy. We lived in Bloomington, Normal, Illinois. We lived in an apartment complex. It would snow there. We would dig out igloos. Andy and I were very, very good friends. And I remember this one time that we got into some mischief. And I'm not sure how it happened, but the end result of the mischief is that Andy and I had removed the shoes of another boy our age and put it in the public post box. I'm not proud of it. You shouldn't take off people's shoes and put them in a post box. And I don't even remember the kid, but if you're out there, kid, I apologize. We removed the kid's shoes and we tied them together and we put them in the post box like we were mailing them off to Adidas. I think that's the thing. We thought we were going to mail these shoes off to Adidas. And then we skedaddled. We left. We went on the lam. We took off because the kid was upset that his shoes were in the mailbox. And I went to my house. Andy went to his house. And I went on with my day, probably back there in the 1970s, watching some Leave It to Beaver reruns, maybe, doing some Lincoln Logs, some Lego, I don't know, doing what I do. My mom was probably making me a snack when there came a knock at the door. And when the door was opened, standing in the doorway was Andy, his mom, the kid whose shoes were in the mailbox, and the kid's mom. And this is where it gets weird. The two moms, the two kids standing in our doorway. My mom standing in the doorway. I'm back recessed a little bit in the apartment. I'm looking Andy right in the eye, and Andy's mom nudges Andy and says, Tell her what Tony did. And man, Andy sold me out. He sold me right out. He looked my mom right in the eye with tears in his own, and he said, oh, Tony, he said, let's take the kid's shoes and put them in the mailbox. It'll be funny, man. And so I did it. And, look, the rest is history. All of the participants went their own way, and, I got some sort of punishment. It wasn't good. You never wanted to be on the wrong side of my mom's punishment. My mom, the greatest, loving, most caring mom ever, but she was also somebody that she would throw around a wait till your father gets home, but she wasn't afraid to give the discipline out herself. My punishment was probably maybe a little bit of a spanking, maybe a little bit of a grounding. I mean, this was the 1970s. But the scar that lingers the longest, and maybe to this day, is the disloyalty of my friend Andy. And I bet you a lot of you guys have some sort of disloyalty story out there, and I think that's why the Royal Loyal are a little bummed out. One thing that people like in cruising is the food in the MDR. And a few months ago, Royal Caribbean announced that they would be doing away with their Classics menu. Classics menu, very simple. There would be a changing dinner menu every night, but there would always be the classics. You could always get your shrimp cocktail. You could always get some grilled chicken, but no more. No more. This does hurt my heart, because when I started cruising a few years ago, I was so excited on most every cruise line that I went on. You could get a shrimp cocktail every night. Such a staple of main dining room food, the shrimp cocktail. There was a time where every cruise I went on, I could get escargot every night in the main dining room. And this is the case. It's blowing up on social media, the Royal Loyal bemoaning bemoaning the loss of the always there shrimp cocktail, the always there grilled chicken, and whatever else was on that classic menu. I don't know, but I think the shrimp cocktail would have cut me the deepest. Are you Royal loyal? How you feeling today? Because it's over. I think the rollout's done on all of the ships. How you feeling today? Do you miss your shrimp cocktail? Or is this just a sign of the times? The times, they are a-changin'. Times, they are a-changin'. And you know what? Sitting here today in 2023, the ironic thing about my mailbox story is there's shoes in the mail all the time. It's like, that's how we get our shoes. So I think I might have been ahead of my time. I think I was an innovator. I was junior Jeff Bezos. Thank you so much for checking out the show today. I sure hope you enjoyed it. Thanks to everybody who elbowed the like button yesterday, and it was many of you. Today you could bonk it, you could headbutt the like button, and unfortunately, if you don't manipulate the like button in some way, I will be forced to punish you, and your punishment will be this. On your very next cruise, they're not going to have any food that you like. Forget the classics. They're not even going to have favorites. All they're going to have is like cabbage and tofu. And that's going to be every meal. You don't want that. You can avoid all that by headbutting the like button. This is Tony for La Lido Loca, and until the next time, we'll see ye on Ye Lido. Up yonder, ye. I guess. See you anon. Bye. Au revoir. See you. Happy Friday. Go. You go first. You hang up. Talk to you later. TTL. See ya on the Lido. Bye.